Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Long Island.
You know, Mr. Speaker, no one wishes to follow Marco City. Only thing you want to say after is let the church say amen. Mr. Speaker, I'm distinctly privileged to rise in this place on behalf of the great and hard-working people of Long Island, whose indomitable spirit is legendary. I thank them, my home people, people from whence I came, for the opportunity to serve on their behalf, and I assure them of my unwavering commitment to them. Speaker, I want to say good afternoon to my grandparents, Mr. Edward Gibson and Mrs. Lenora Gibson, who are no doubt listening in Long Island. And I begin by expressing thanks to my executive team who have lightened my load and made my journey easier. I remain focused upon moving Long Island from strength to strength. To borrow that famous phrase, make Long Island great again. Mr. Speaker, let me begin by also extending deepest sympathies to the family of the late William Knowles, Minerva Pratt, the late educator Martin Turnquest, Willard Gibson, Gilbert Taylor, Philip Gray, my good friend, the family of my good friend Mr. Donnie Wells, who cooked some of the best okra soup one could find. Etlin Knowles, the family of Angela Turnquest, and the family of Geraldine Turnquest. I also want to extend condolences to the family of Sir Charles Carter, who I grew up listening to every Saturday morning. His voice was majestic. He took us through the journey of our history and culture. He taught so much to the Bahamas, and it's unfortunate, I believe, that I didn't have an opportunity to meet him in person. I also extend condolences to the family of the late Mr. Donald Simonette. I vividly recall our chat at Rudy's, and remember you remember those. I vividly recall him days after I won my seat calling to congratulate me. Mr. Speaker, I also want to congratulate the graduating classes of the NGM Major High School, North Long Island High School, Mango Bush Primary School, Lower Dedmondsky Primary School, and the Sims Primary School. I encourage them to continue to fly high, reach beyond the stars. I will be the guest speaker at the Sims Primary School graduation this Friday. Life has come full circle. I attended Sims Primary School when it was in the old Gospel Hall building in a graveyard. Some days we fell into graves and only had an outdoor and outside toilet. Our classrooms were partitioned off by a wooden display board in the big open hall. And then, of course, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram came along and constructed a new, modern Sims Primary School, which I was able to attend from its opening that January to June before graduating and attending high school. That was 1995 or thereabouts. And as head boy, I vividly recall escorting him about the campus. And guess what? Mr. Ingram never forgot. He has the memory of an elephant. To this day, as a man, he reminded me of that. Mr. Speaker, this is a futuristic budget. This is a budget that encapsulates the Bahamian dream and has the components necessary to put one on the path to attaining the Bahamian dream. This budget allows family islands such as Long Island to better be able to chart our own course, economically and socially. I am pleased to know that Long Island has been included in the special economic zone. I believe that this will spur economic activity on islands such as mine, and that Bahamians will benefit. The VAT and duty concessions being available via this budget will underpin the creation and expansion of businesses. I believe that this budget and the accompanying bills will spur construction throughout the country, expand employment opportunities, expand COVID contingency support, promote the growth of tourism, provide so many opportunities that are too numerous to mention in sectors such as tourism and agriculture and fisheries and the digital economy. Mr. Speaker, This budget, I believe, will grow the economy and lessen bureaucratic red tape when you look at the bills that are part of the budget package, the compendium. Mr. Speaker, we are rebuilding after a devastating Category 5 storm and the worst pandemic in history. Not in history, I should say in a century. The worst pandemic in a century. Mr. Speaker, this is an opportunity budget. Let's take advantage of this. I encourage Long Islanders to take advantage of this. I am a product of opportunity, meeting, preparation, equaling success, having myself attained various elevating and awarding experiences as a result, including traveling to the Olympics as a 16-year-old to represent the Bahamas. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this budget will jumpstart sustainable economic growth and recovery, where the government invests in the people from over the hill to the family islands. And as a businessman, I'm extremely excited about the duty and VAT concessions that this budget contains. I feel this personally. And so this allows for me the growth and expansion of my businesses after a rough 2020 as well, and possibly the launch of a few more. Turning my attention to Long Island, Mr. Speaker. Long Islanders, I want to say to you that notwithstanding our challenges, things are on the up and up in Long Island. The governmental interventions that have happened and are soon to happen will lift our economy out of the doldrums and put us on the path to sustained investment and growth. Mr. Speaker, Long Island is on the move. It's Long Island's time. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by talking about a few initiatives undertaken via the Long Island Constituency Fund, as well as donations. I'm pleased to announce that last week I entered into a contract with Peter Fox Construction for the construction of the first ever Long Island Heroes Wall. This wall will be situated at the regatta site in Salt Pond and will stand at 8 feet high, 20 feet long, and 2 feet wide. I want to thank the Long Island Association as well for allowing us to use that space. This wall will also feature a wonderfully designed base for low-hedge plants. The contract cost is $8,500. Mr. Speaker, last year I observed that none of the hurricane shelters had a backup generator. And so when power went off, people were usually in complete darkness or had to use lamps and candles, and when their phones died, couldn't stay in contact with their families. So I went out this year, and given that this is hurricane season, I'm pleased to note that this week I will be presenting generators to local government and the administrator for each and every on-island hurricane shelter. As well as additional generators for backup emergency power. These were purchased in excess of $16,000. Mr. Speaker, Zuma, you could take that one, Zuma. Mr. Speaker, over the last year or so, we have undertaken various initiatives and donations via the Constituency Fund, from donations to schools for projects such as the NGM Major Gym, to 1.7 million seeds to constituents, which was later supplemented by backyard farming kits. I want to thank the member for Marco City, to providing food packages, to fully loaded COVID packages that featured hand sanitizer, wipes, Panadol, vapor rub, etc., to COVID-19 counseling sessions with Dr. Byington Brennan. So all someone had to do during the lockdowns was call in. We paid for it. It was free for them. To assistance for persons who were stuck in Nassau during lockdown, to lunch to essential workers, donations to the Farmers Market, Long Island Association, Cancer Society, to building or constructing boat launch ramps, donating thousands of tablets, laptops, and computers to schools, to back to school, Christmas extravaganzas, Easter events, district sports, and trophies and so on, spelling bees, and so much more. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank my friends that are alive, namely the former CEO Damian Blackburn and Carl Momplessa, for their donation of one of the two much-needed ambulances for our two main clinics in Long Island. I thank them for acceding to my request. I'd also like to thank BHM for their donation, several loads of coal patch for the repair of potholes that plague our roads, among other community building initiatives that they have participated in. Mr. Speaker, I am extremely pleased that we now have a passport office in Long Island. I thank the member for Marco City. I thank the member for North Abaco. Marco City, you were so good, man. Some of those words that you left must have me keep referring to you. But I thank the member for North Abaco. No longer the Long Islanders have to make two costly trips to Nassau to apply for or renew a passport, and then make another trip to Nassau to pick up the passport. Those days are gone. Mr. Speaker, we could not print driver's licenses, could not print decals and or licensed vehicles in Long Island up until a few months ago. Those days too are over. And I want to thank all those persons involved, former minister, the current minister, and everyone else involved. I'm also pleased to note that 2 road traffic offices have now been opened in Long Island. So we have fulfilled a campaign pledge to open a permanent road traffic office in the north, as it was a great inconvenience for persons living in that area of the island to travel many miles away to road traffic or wait for the road traffic officer to come down on a Tuesday and a Thursday for 3 to 4 hours with everybody cramming, trying to get their business done. These days we have fully staffed offices and have also provided employment opportunities for islanders. Let me also thank the member for Mount Moriah and anyone else involved for acceding to my request for additional police officers and police vehicles on Long Island. I also note that this member, Mount Moriah, in his contribution is pledged to renovate the police stations on Long Island. They're exploring opportunities of acquiring and deploying a small fire engine, and are preparing to establish a new police station at the new Long Island International Airport. Mr. Speaker, next month we will be hosting Crystal Cruises. With Long Island being a port of call, or one of the port of calls in the Bahamas, no doubt this will lend to a major boost in the local economy. And I encourage Long Islanders to provide all visitors with an authentic Bahamian experience, a true Long Island experience. As we enter this campaign season, I say to Long Islanders, let's do it again. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the honorable members for Kalani and Carmichael for putting up with me as I press, push, fight for, and pursue initiatives on behalf of my people. Let me also thank them for taking an interest in Long Island and helping me to attain a number of the intended objectives for Long Island. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member for Freetown. And I want to also commend Director of Aviation, Mr. Algernon Cargill, for his sheer tenacity and thrust in helping us to achieve our goal of an international airport. I applaud him. We spoke last night. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to inform Long Islanders that the tender for the land side, that is the terminal, is out and due back next week for bid evaluations. I'm advised that that contract will be awarded within 4 weeks of the receipt of the bids. I'm also pleased to note that the air side, that is the runway, was released to potential bidders last week. That tender process is expected to take from 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm advised that contract will be issued immediately upon return and evaluation of the bids. Mr. Speaker, this is what we're looking at, Long Island. This is Long Island's future, Mr. Speaker. soon to arrive, the new international airport. Mr. Speaker, I'm advised that the land acquisition for the Long Island International Airport is in its final stages, so that government intends to fairly compensate the landowners. Soon, Long Island will be scheduled, or will have scheduled, international flights. For the first time, this $18 million airport will be a huge boost to our economy, and it will lend to the economic boost that we have always desired, and now will be finally attaining. I encourage Long Islanders to get ready. Get ready, Long Island. Take advantage of these tax concessions. Build Airbnbs. Build your restaurants. Open your restaurants, your bed and breakfasts, your motels. Branch off into many of the spin-off businesses. Capitalize on this special economic zone and the VAT and customs concessions available to you. Mr. Speaker, I'm extremely pleased by the progress of waterworks in Long Island. And lot number one, Mr. Speaker, works are nearing completion and will soon be commissioned. We laid some 18.9 miles of pipe, some 96,000 feet of pipe. More than 300 service connections will be expected, and hundreds of people will benefit. We will be commissioning that this summer. This summer, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and lots 3 and 4, works are nearing completion. Lots 3 and 4. This is Sims, Long Island. And here, some 12.9 miles or 68,000 feet of pipe was laid. We expect roughly 200 service connections and hundreds of beneficiaries. And this summer, we will be commissioning that as well. We look forward to being joined by the PM, the DPM, and some of my colleagues as we turn on water in these areas for the first time ever. Mr. Speaker, we have completed a number of projects in Long Island. Phase 1 and 2 of the Long Island service lateral changeout, where we conducted an aggressive NRW program to reduce leaks and improve pressures in Long Island. This led to the replacement of some 627 service laterals in Deadman Ski. We have completed the installation of a new distribution system in Woodhill, inclusive of a 5,000-gallon holding tank and pumping system. And this completed the provision of closer community water services to all of southern Long Island, including Roses, Berries, Mortimers, Dunmores, Woodhill, etc. Connecting these systems up is our ultimate goal. Mr. Speaker, WSC has also completed the installation of 3 community booster stations and the Deadman Ski water distribution system that will increase pressure and provide added service levels at higher elevations. We've also completed numerous side streets in Long Island, including New Mains and Scrub Hill, and the Bite Settlement, extension to Pindus Road, Stafford Miller, and those, I don't know, that's an unnamed road in Salt Pond, Windsor Settlement, the crossing, the Bite, Kelly Point Road, etc. Over the last year or so, we have seen substantial completion of a new operational and storage compound for equipment and supplies. We've also purchased a new modern water tanker, double the capacity for those areas that we have not yet gotten to. Mr. Speaker, I do want to address the areas of Millers and McCann's and Sam McKinnon's, where the PLP have dishonestly referred to us, me, as having victimized them, notwithstanding their own less than stellar record in government. I want to equip them with the facts, not that they haven't been equipped with it before. Mr. Speaker, no time have I, my board, or the Water and Sewage Corporation disenfranchised or willfully excluded the communities of Thompson Bay, McCann's, Millis, Sam McKinnon's from the water mains expansion project. I have adamantly pursued the water extension works in Long Island. Notwithstanding that, though, the Caribbean Development Bank water mains extension loan must be split between multiple islands and is directed towards targeting the greatest clusters of residents and settlements on these islands, given the multi-million-dollar expenditure. Pursuant to the terms of the CDB loan, WSC has, and we have our own in-house CDB project team. We have an external independent assessor, and the CDB has oversight and concurrent sign-off. So this is not something that WSC just makes a decision and we go. All of these persons provide relevant details and carry out assessments to contribute to or greatly impact and influence the process. As such, we have carried out various assessments where the corporation has deployed ground teams to assess communities and determine possible connections. Given the same, a practical decision was made to extend the water mains northwards and southwards of the existing Sims community water system with a view to eventually tying in the entire network. The corporation also discovered that sections currently covered in phase 2 of the works were most feasible given the budgetary constraints that limited our reach and the fact that there was an existing system and a reverse osmosis plant already in Sims. This was also because, Mr. Speaker, those areas have in excess, that is the Sims area, south and north of Sims, having in excess of some 200 connections, household and business, as compared to McCann's, Millis, and Sam McKinnon's, where I'm advised there were some 35 connections. And providing water to Long Island and other family islands using loan funds, one of the major objectives of both WSC and the lending bank is to maximize the number of beneficiaries. This also lends to WSC over time being in position to recoup the investment, which in turn allows for major works to be undertaken in the future and for revenue to be generated to repay our infrastructural loan. Many persons living in these areas, the same small areas that they spoke of, are also my supporters. On repeated occasions, I have addressed the intention of WSC to carry out internally generated engineering and works with a view to laying pipe in McCann's, Millis, Sam McKinnon's, Thompson Bay as well. Our team has carried out further assessments in those areas, and we intend to conduct that extension as an internal project. Mr. Speaker, we are also keen to provide service to our sister company, BPL, which is situated in Millis. So I can assure the people of Millis and McCann's and Sam McKinnon's that there's nothing sinister afoot. We are working hard for you as well. Mr. Speaker, my 88-year-old grandmother and 87-year-old grandfather will get to see and feel running water in their house for the first time. Their area was not among those that previously had water. And so I'm excited to travel to Long Island to turn on water this summer. Mr. Speaker, just as I assure my constituents that Long Island, on this front, has not been forgotten, I can assure my colleagues in this place and their constituents that they have not been forgotten, and I'll speak to that shortly. Mr. Speaker, soon Long Islanders will not have to fly to New Providence and incur sizable travel costs to access health care. Our clinics will benefit from an innovative telemedicine initiative and the digitization of healthcare. In recent weeks, I participated in an IDB seminar for the renovation, expansion, and redesign of the Deadman's Key Clinic. I've seen the architectural renderings, and I want to thank the member for Bamboo Town. I want to thank the member for Bamboo Town for this project. And he has assured me that we will receive a new ambulance which will complement to the nation from Alive, and I want to thank you. These renovations will result in a lab where persons will have x-rays, ultrasound, point-of-care labs. Mr. Speaker, the members also assured me that the Sims Community Clinic, which is the second major clinic and serves a large percentage of the population, particularly in the area where you have two major hotels, that clinic will also receive works from his ministry during this budgetary cycle. So I want to thank him, but I also want to bring to the attention of the minister, the member, the need for additional nurses in Long Island. We have severe staff shortages there. And with the transfer of the doctor in the north and the retirement of Dr. Carter, it's my expectation that those replacements have been identified. Long Island cannot be left without doctors. As with many societies, some of my constituents suffer from various illnesses. And so given that, it would be nice for either the government's physicians or maybe private physicians to consider traveling to Long Island or setting up clinics, from neurologists to oncologists to dentists and ophthalmologists. So, Mr. Speaker, I leave that with the member for Bamboo Town. I thank the member for Carmichael for his support in Long Island. And in recent years, we've received a number of infrastructural undertakings, from Newton Key to the redevelopment of the monument site, paving of that road, paving of Sims and Clarenstown Dock, to the paving that is being done now, some 4.3 million, hot mix asphalt. And that includes the placement of 117 stop signs, 122 curve signs, 92 speed limit signs, and 26 settlement signs. But I know that Long Island's neglect and lack of maintenance over the years has left much to be done. These are legacy infrastructural issues. I've written to the minister, to the member for Carmichael, about our varying needs, from additional road works, to replacement of balloon BPL lights, to the installation of poles in certain areas, the drainage issues faced in certain parts of the island. I know Maurice Minnis is pleased to hear about that. The seawalls, to green and recreational spaces. I look forward to his communication in the coming days. Mr. Speaker, Long Island fishermen are also very pleased with the new fishing legislation. Since that law was passed in this place, the complaints about poachers have dramatically lessened. Fishermen are pleased with the efforts to guard our heritage, and I want to thank the member for Marco City again for the repairs effected at the parking house. However, I also request a truck for the local operators at that parking house. We are grateful, Mr. Speaker, for the seed money recently granted to farmers and fishermen on the island, Marco City. Mr. Speaker, I'm calling upon our government to confirm the hard-working staff at Urban Renewal, who continue to do a fantastic job. Our team works assiduously with limited resources. And given that this is the first iteration of Urban Renewal in Long Island, and all of them are now on expired contracts, I urge consideration for them to become permanent and pensionable. When I was first elected, one of my first tasks was to assist a lady by the name of Beryl Fox. However, time ran out within my first year. She attained the age of 65. And though she was a janitor at the high school for some 20 or so years, she went home without a pension. This is a sad state of affairs, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that this injustice is rectified for Ms. Fox. Mr. Speaker, I am advised that we have a teacher shortage in Long Island. Long Island administrators should know that the member for South Beach and I have a really good relationship, and I will be discussing your concerns with him. I'm happy to hear the educational review, where persons such as my former teacher, now principal of NGM Major, Mr. Endel Adderley, and his vice principal, my other former teacher, Ms. Kathy Cartwright, can be confirmed. Both of these individuals are outstanding teachers and leaders. It is very unfortunate that former District Superintendent Macon Cartwright, my former principal, had to retire as a principal, though he served and performed as District Superintendent for many years. I trust that something can be done to correct such injustices. Given the truth and the increasing tourist traffic in Long Island, given the growth, I should say, and the increasing tourist traffic in Long Island, we are in need of immigration officers as well. And I trust that the member for Yamakroa would assist in the recruitment of Long Islanders so that they too can join the rank of the Department of Immigration. Mr. Speaker, Long Island. So, Mr. Speaker, given that we are approaching the luncheon hour, I'll stop here and I'll return at 3 o'clock.
More fight.